This is pretty nutty. Jerome Moore has been fired from Michigan. This is a statement from Michigan Athletic Director. head football coach Jerome Moore has been terminated with cause, effective immediately. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in inappropriate relations with a staff member. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of the university policy, and maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. Biff Poggi has been appointed the head football coach in interim capacity, effective immediately. This is a little nutty. Let's see what the On Three boys have to say about it.
You know what that means? Big news has happened, and this is huge news. We are Andy and Ari on 3, presented by BetMGM, and Michigan has fired Sherone Moore for cause. According to a Michigan statement, they have fired head coach Sherone Moore after they found, quote, credible evidence that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. And they said this constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. So Biff Poggi has been appointed head football coach in the interim capacity, according to the statement. Ari, I don't think Biff's getting the job full-time. We'll talk about who might get the job, but let's talk more about this now. Sherone Moore, 2 seasons into the job, replacing Jim Harbaugh, now fired.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like, well, let's just be honest with the audience and each other. Like, these rumors have been floating around the internet for quite some time. So the fact that...
Well, not even around the internet. I mean, yeah. Okay, so we started hearing about this stuff before the season started. So, but you don't know what's true and what's not. You don't know what can be proven and what's not. And so there's not much you can do with that information unless you can prove it. Well, Michigan apparently has proven it. And so they will be firing Sherone Moore and not paying him a dime.
Yeah. So, that aspect of it from a moral standpoint, whatever, like we'll save that for probably you guys to discuss. But like, Michigan's kind of in a tough situation right now, man, because the coaching carousel by itself was, already kind of, depleted to a certain extent. But for the timing of this happening, a week to the date after National Signing Day, the season's like, what is your take on what's going on here and what this means for the Michigan program?
Well, I'd be curious to see, and I don't know if we'll ever find out the timeline of their investigation and how that worked, because if they knew about this and if they had evidence and could do this, waiting till today was a bad idea, because you would have wanted to do it before signing day. You would have wanted to do it before these, because, think about the jobs that have been filled. Penn State got filled last Friday with Matt Campbell. That is one of the names that we would have certainly put up for the Michigan job. LSU, Auburn, Florida have all hired coaches. So, there's been big name coaches that have moved around. And there have also been coaches who were involved in searches who signed new deals at their new school or at their old school. So, Clark Lee interviewed for jobs. He was one of the candidates at Florida. I know he interviewed for Penn State. He ended up staying at Vandy on a new deal. Eli Drinkwitz interviewed at multiple places. He ended up staying at Mizzou on a new deal. So that makes, if you wanted to get some of these guys who were in the mix, even more expensive now, because they now have bigger buyouts to pay. But I will say this, Ari, when you fire somebody for cause, you don't spend any money. So if somebody has even a $10 million buyout to get them out of their old job, that's actually not a bad deal for Michigan, because they're not paying Sherone Moore a buyout.
Yeah, which makes that more dangerous. And of course, if you're Michigan, you're coming off of an era of the most success the football program has enjoyed in my adult life. And, in this specific world of college football, momentum is key. And, as we've seen with Michigan's football program, Andy, they have dedicated themselves to winning at a level that I would say Michigan wasn't dedicated to 5 years ago. And what a taste of winning can do to alter a perspective of a university. And my understanding was that Michigan's, administrators and people above weren't that bought in on football. Then they got really good at football and they got a taste of it. And it's like, this is really good for academics too. This is good for admissions. This is good for everybody.
It's like we always used to say when they were sort of mucking around and always losing to Ohio State, you can have a kick-ass children's hospital and a kick-ass football team too. And they figured that out and they like it.
obviously it was an interesting or an important cross section of what to do when Jim Harbaugh left for the Chargers, and they stayed within, promoted within with Sherone Moore, who was an important piece to that national championship. But what they do right now is a really critical moment, because you want to keep whatever you can of this recruiting class together if possible, but you want to keep the momentum of the trajectory of the program headed upward.
I want to speak on that because they made such a really good point about this being in the middle of or right after National Signing Day. Now, National Signing Day, there's still people who can decommit and all this other stuff. We saw last year the rookie quarterback, freshman quarterback at Cal. I mean, he was originally committed to Oregon, and he went through bowl practice with them, and then transferred to Cal in January. So, while this is an interesting thing, it's very possible that you can lose players. And then on top of that, guys, the transfer portal is open. The transfer portal is open right now. So if Bryce Underwood, the shiny 5-star quarterback who started to play some better football as the season goes along, I mean, this is a pretty a real reason for him to be like, hey man, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of a situation with a head coach that I thought was going to be here, a head coach that was a part of a national championship winning team, is gone. So just on staff, you're going to lose. Just on on the team, a lot of those Michigan players are gone. Forget the people you just recruited. The players on the team right now are hopping in that portal when something insane like this happens, right? And then to his point, the National Signing Day, what if some non-commitments come? What if some national letters of intent don't get signed? There's a lot of nasty things that could come of this. And the nastiest thing we do have to say, I know, they're talking about, what's it called? What do you say? They're talking about, the football implications. I want to make sure that we do, he said, leave the moral implications to us. Apparently, Jerome Moore has a wife that he cheated on. And this happened before the season, and he told that lady that he cheated on with, got her pregnant, and said, "Hey man, we ain't doing none of that." You know what I mean? You can read between the lines that we gonna have to make this problem disappear, shorty. That's what apparently happened. And from the morality police, I mean, hey, do what you do, how you do, the way you do it, all right? But the nastiness is when you do it with somebody on your staff. So let's get into the details here. Jerome Moore has been fired from Michigan. He took over Jim Harbaugh in 2024. He led the Wolverines to a 16-8 record in a full-time role. On 3 confirmed, Wolverines players were abruptly called for a team meeting where they learned of the news. Michigan Athletic Director Wade Manuel then announced his decision was for cause after an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Moore arrived in Michigan in 2018 as a tight ends coach, moved up to co-offensive coordinator in 2021. In 23, he became the sole offensive coordinator on staff, also served as acting head coach while Harbaugh served a suspension from the Big Ten as a result of a sign-stealing scandal. Michigan went 3-0 during that time and won another game while Harbaugh served a separate suspension. You have to wonder, from Michigan, how do you have all of this? Recruits are going to look at this. Coaches are going to look at this. You've had a legendary coach in Harbaugh be suspended. Your successor to him, who went 16-8, went decent. Obviously, he's still recovering XYZ from having that championship team. And now it just seems to be controversy after controversy after controversy with Michigan. I don't even understand. Then Michigan made a big splash on the recruiting trail by landing 5-star plus quarterback Bryce Underwood, the nation's #1 overall player. He then earned the starting role in 2025 as UM went 9-3, including 6-2 in Big Ten play. However, Moore missed 2 of those games due to a suspension, which was also part of the sign-stealing investigation into the program. He also received a 2-year show cause as the result of the investigation. Pogge served as the acting head coach against Central Michigan and Nebraska, both of which resulted in Michigan victories. Michigan took a 5-game winning streak into the regular season final against Ohio State, which could have helped send the Wolverines to the Big Ten championship, depending on the tiebreakers. The Buckeyes came away with a 27-9 victory in Ann Arbor, and what became the most watched game of the 2025 regular season. So very, very nasty situation. If you're a Michigan fan, I'll pray for you. It's going to be a lot of transfer portal, NLI, National Letter of Intent, moving around. The sky's falling if you're a fan out there for the Maize and Blues. Y'all let me know how you feel below.